What did you guys think of the film? Thanks for sticking around. We're going to do a really fun Q&A. My name is Kelly Zink, and I'm the host of Celeb TV. I also do stuff for Fox and CNN and TV Guide. And I've been pretty close with the Twilight family over the past few years, so I'm really excited. I screened this film a few weeks ago, and I loved it. I think that guys will like it. Unlike the Twilight thing where you kind of have to wrestle with your boyfriend to maybe go. So I'm really excited to chat with the actors, and of course Stephenie Meyer is here. That's a nice surprise, right? And they just got into Chicago today. They're very excited. So without further ado, oh, by the way, I'm going to start it off with a few questions. And then please, if you guys have something you want to ask, stand up, wave your hands, and you're going to have to kind of yell. And then I'll repeat the question. So let's kick it off. If I can have, I feel like you're the next contestant on The Price is Right. We have Max Iron. Jake Abel. And of course, Stephenie Meyer. So I guess we'll kick this off, Stephenie, to you. When you were kind of writing this novel, and when you had the screenplay in mind, were you thinking about the loyal following that you had with Twilight?
Well, I actually wrote this novel in 2006, so it was a bit before things got too crazy, so no, not at all.
And when you were writing and then they were being cast, did you picture these guys in the role?
Well, visually, obviously, they're a little bit different than how I described, but what I wanted was not someone who matched up identically to dark hair, this color eyes, but someone who felt like the character, where it really felt like the story was being told correctly. And so as we were auditioning, these were the two that really did that.
And you two, are you guys a little intimidated when she was on the set the whole time, or?
I'm really scary, so
yeah, you look scary.
You were terrified.
No, not at all. Early on, she kind of gave us permission to sort of trust our instincts and to just sort of find it. And whenever we needed help, she was there for us.
And are you guys ready for this film to kind of explode? You see the fans here that are loyal. They're sticking around. They have their cameras out. They want to hear from you guys. Are you ready for this whole phenomenon to take off?
I don't know. God, it's lovely to have loyal fans.
That accent is adorable, right? All right, let's open it to questions. Right here in the middle.
Actually, knowing, Stephenie, that you're writing The Seeker, is there anything that they've brought to their characters that are going to in any way influence how you end up writing parts of The Seeker? And is there anything that maybe she told you both in that time as to how to kind of interpret your characters a little bit more?
I haven't told them anything, so they're not in that loop. There's no one in that loop. There are a couple things, I mean, not so much like serious character development issues, because I already had this story in mind, and they're really, I feel like, really true to the characters, so nothing's really had to change. There's a couple of things that will probably go into the book just to mess with them, but I'm not gonna ruin it for them now, and you know, he knows.
Okay, right up there in the back, waving the hands. The question is, how do you make them mist?
Unfortunately, the mist is CGI. It wasn't even real, like liquid. It was just a silver thing, and then they added in the spray. But it would be amazing if we could make that. I'd be all over that.
Next, okay, right up there in the burgundy.
Right. First, you both are really, really hot.
So are you, Stephenie.
Max just said, "So are you." Sorry?
Did you guys read the book before being in the movie?
After I was cast, I locked myself in my house and read the book.
Yeah, it was tough. I got halfway through the book before the audition. And then finished it, obviously.
Right up here in the white.
Hi, so I was just wondering, when you guys were auditioning, were you guys thinking about doing another role besides, of course, Jared and Ian, or were you guys even like dying maybe for each other's roles?
I had initially went in for Jared, thinking I wanted to be Jared because he got to shoot the guns, he got to kiss in the rain, he got to flip the cars. But then Andrew Nichol, the director, called me before I went in and read as Ian with Saoirse, and talked to me about the role of Ian, and the things he said really spoke to me about this really interesting interspecies love, which is something that's never really been done before.
Jake loves interspecies love.
I really do. So he started telling me things like that really started interesting me, and then I couldn't be happier I wasn't playing Jared.
Thanks, buddy. I also went up for Ian and Jared, but I think the childish part of me led to me playing Jared.
Right up here.
Okay, so for the actors, at what age did you realize you wanted to act?
For me, it was about 15, 16 when I was at school. I kind of thought, this is as much fun as I can have at school without breaking the rules, you know.
I think it was kind of the same time for me as well. I'd gotten into improv around 15 years old, and that's when it all sort of came whooshing together.
Okay, over here.
Where did you guys find that location where the tavern where everybody was in? Where did you guys find that?
The exterior is in New Mexico. It's a place called Shiprock, which was really unbelievable. The interior was on a soundstage in Louisiana. We actually built the whole cave, which was really cool. It's about 3 to 4 stories high. The ceiling is CGI, but everything else was physically there. Some days. It was also always really dusty and kind of gross and dirty, which I guess is how it probably would have felt.
Max was on set. Was it hot?
I'm so sorry about my friend.
How about right here in the front?
I heard that you were inspired by Muse when you wrote Twilight in the series. I want to know, were there any musicians that kind of inspired you when you were writing The Host?
It was a while ago, but I'm pretty sure there was a lot of Arcade Fire that I was listening to at the time. That was my thing right then.
Do you guys want to take over my job? These are really good questions. Up here?
How does it feel like to kiss with the same actress?
Jake's going to take that question.
How does it feel to kiss the same actress? Well, you know,
The actors playing two different
we're very close.
very close.
Close.
Very
We
close.
share most things.
Yeah.
Oh.
These are his clothes.
Way back up there, waving the hand. Yes.
Oh, okay. I wanted to ask what it was like
With Saoirse? It's great. We got to kiss her. Saoirse's great. She's fantastic. She's so young and so emotionally evolved and what? How was it working with Saoirse?
She's unnervingly talented. Usually auditions are terrifying and awkward, but Saoirse made it incredibly easy, and all the way through you didn't feel like you were acting, you didn't feel like you were working. Half the time you forgot the cameras were even there. Yeah, she's really good.
Stephenie, was it hard to interpret the dual personality, I guess you could say? Because it is kind of dual personality.
When I first wrote the story, I didn't think it could be filmed. It seemed like it'd be something that, most of it happens inside one person's head. I thought it would be impossible. But Andrew always had a really clear vision of what it needed to be, and he knew it just needed to be a really great performance. And it ended up looking, I thought really effortless. Like, it looks a lot easier than we all thought it was going to be in the beginning, because Saoirse's just really, really good. At the end, where she's kind of saying goodbye to herself, when I watched that, I had to remind myself it's just one person doing that scene, because you so believe in those two characters. She's just really amazing. So she made it really easy when it first looked challenging.
Over here?
Do you two have any actors that inspired you? Like growing up and making the movie?
Plenty. I think growing up, I was probably one of the biggest Jim Carrey fans. Huge Jim Carrey fan.
God, in terms of in this particular movie, I don't know if I did, but Philip Seymour Hoffman, in terms of perfect acting, he's pretty good.
Okay, right up here, blonde.
I always think it's really important to write to entertain yourself. Make engaging yourself and keeping yourself interested in the story important. If you're not interested in what you're writing, then no one else is going to be. I also think it helps to kind of forget about everyone else. If you get too many opinions, there'll be no focus. You just have to write a story that's really pure and speaks to yourself, and then go out and look for a publisher and other readers. But keep it to yourself as long as you can.
Right here in front.
I have a suggestion.
He has a suggestion for those of you that couldn't hear that.
You should write a Godzilla movie.
I'll put that on my list, a Godzilla movie. I'm not sure. I mean, I've got a long list. I'll have to get through the Assassins and the Mermaids first, but I'll put it on there.
Way up there in the last row. Yes, you. Why was there so much action, are you asking?
Why wasn't there more action?
Oh, why wasn't there more? I think there's a lot of action.
Well, I mean, it depends on if you're coming in for an action movie. The story that we're telling demanded some conversations and some downtime. And so, I don't know, for me there was a nice balance, but, you know, we didn't blow up a lot of things, this is true. Just, did we blow up anything?
We smashed people into
We
a barrel.
smashed people. We choked people. We smacked people.
Yeah, we choked some people.
We didn't blow anything up, sorry.
And Max, you learned to drive for this film?
I did, yeah.
Did you guys know that? How was that experience for you?
It was fine, thank you very much. There was one day I had to drive Jake and Saoirse, which was fairly terrifying, I think. It was a kind of rally course, you know, off-road dirt track course, and I was told to do it as fast as I conceivably could, safely, in a kind of 50s truck. And I did it by myself, and that was fine. But then, when I had you and Saoirse beside me, the pressure was really on, and Saoirse's father was about 10 meters away, staring daggers at me, that if any harm should befall his daughter, I'd be in for it.
Movie stars, they're just like us. They have to learn how to drive too, right? Okay, way up there, raising your hand, jumping up and down.
Can I have a picture and autograph?
If you guys go to Anderson's bookshop on Monday, maybe, between 2 and 5. Up here in the corner.
How long did it take you guys?
3 months.
3 months.
3 months, and yeah, an incredible amount of fun. I think not every film you're lucky to have a cast that there's not one bad apple. Everyone's pretty fun. Everyone's got a good sense of humor, and that's really rare. And we got really lucky, and we'd like to do it again, I think.
All right, 2 more questions. Who has the very pressing? Okay, right up here in the front.
Yeah. This is for Stephenie. I love how you came up with Twilight. It was in your brain. You came kind of were thinking about that. I'm just curious how you came up with the host. Just how authors come up with these stories is fascinating.
I'll try and do this in as short a version as possible.
Okay.
When I was a kid, we did a lot of road trips, no TVs in the car, bad motion sickness, can't read. I would tell myself stories. And the host happened while I was doing this as an adult. I was driving from Phoenix to Salt Lake City, which is a really boring drive through the desert. And I was just kind of, my mind was just sort of running, and I was halfway into the idea before I sort of stopped. I have no idea what sparked it. Maybe there was some really weird looking plant or something. And then I thought, you know, it was the idea of one person, 2 people and one person in love with the same person and the complications of that. And I thought this has some potential to be a story. I didn't know how long of a story it was going to be though.
Okay, and then finally, right here in the front, raising your hand.
What was your favorite point from book to movie that you guys were able to actually shoot for all 3 of you?
For me, it was that final scene with Saoirse and Saoirse. it's rare when you're filming a movie to have when you're filming it, there's not a lot of emotion in it because you're doing like 2 lines at a time and you're only doing one angle and there's no music and you haven't got the interplay of 2 people back and forth really. And that scene, it was just like the first take. It was so magical with no music, nothing. All of us who were watching were just, tears in our eyes. It was amazing.
I liked the Ian Wanda date scene out on the plateau because that was the last day of filming and it was really gorgeous being up there, the sun setting. But I also really liked the scene where he and I were hiding out in the rocks with the binoculars, peeping on the seekers because it was the closest I felt to a kid on set in a long time, playing like, cowboys and Indians or something.
I think for me, it was it's a slightly boring answer, but the fight sequence, because I got to fight 4 guys, and it made me feel tough.
And I think that's it. Thank you everyone for coming out. Tweet this, Facebook it, tell everyone how amazing it was.